Good evening. Tonight on the Sports Locker, we are celebrating a milestone for Gibraltarian sport. We've watched him climb the ranks, we've watched him collect the Latin titles, but Tyrone Buttigieg had to go one step further, claiming the WBC International and Commonwealth belts. He's a firefighter by trade, but now he's one of the most hottest names in the ring. A big welcome to Tyrone Buttigieg. Tyrone, these 4 belts right here, you look at them now, how does it make you feel?
Very fulfilled, to be honest. Happy. I've accomplished much more than what I set myself to do when I turned professional. For me, at the beginning, it was just a matter of just doing a few pro fights for the experience and look at where we come up to. For important belts and well ranked with 2 of the 4 major world governing bodies.
4 belts, 12-0. I mean, there's plenty of boxers that go the whole career wanting to achieve something like this, and you in a limited time as a pro boxer, you've already done this. I mean, looking back to when you first started, you just mentioned you didn't think you'd maybe get to this level, but now that you're here, talk us a bit through your journey and how it's been.
Yeah, definitely. I never thought I'd be ranked number 15 in the world with the WBO. I'm 24th with the WBC now. I never imagined myself that I was going to be fighting for the Commonwealth title over 12 rounds. So I've definitely accomplished way more than I thought I would, especially coming from this area where opportunities in boxing are limited and not very common. So definitely very happy and very content with the journey. Also, I think it's partly due to stepping up constantly and always improving the level of opponents. If you look at many prospects in boxing, you can see like maybe they go from 8 to 10 fights or sometimes even more, where they constantly fight versus journeymen. Journeymen are basically people who fight every other week for money and they basically lose. And you can see prospects continuously fighting journeymen just to build their record and to gain experience. But in my case, on my 4th fight, I was already fighting guys with a positive record. And I've just built up from there, going on stronger, bringing opponents with better records and more experience, and that's what has allowed me to get up to this level in such a short span of time, in just 3 years.
We'll get into the nitty-gritty of the fights in just a minute, but there is one trophy che fartai, eh? GBC Sportsperson of the Year.
sorry.
Not that io il más importante, Tyrone. We'll talk a bit about that in part 2, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. And your opponent, Kumar, you knew he was going to be difficult, and it proved to be a difficult fight on the night.
Yeah, to be honest, it was a very challenging fight. When I was analysing his videos, I knew he was a tough competitor, but to be honest with you, I think I probably slightly underestimated him because I believed that I was technically superior than him. I do believe that still. But what I failed to anticipate was his physical attributes, which made the fight difficult. For example, he finished very strong in the last 2 rounds. He was strong. I was probably more fatigued and more vulnerable than him in the last 2 rounds. And he probably, well, I'd say he had more power than I had. And there was danger with shots. So those two physical strong points that he had is what I believe complicated the fight way more than what I thought it would be.
And it's also, I imagine, hard to prepare for someone that's so unorthodox in his fighting style. We were talking off camera how wild and crazy his approach was at times, and nothing can prepare you for that sort of crazy in the ring until you're in there. How do you react to that when you realise that he's throwing punches that perhaps you haven't seen other boxers do in a bit of a wild style?
Yeah. As I've just said, I think that's one of the things that led me to underestimate him. When I was seeing his footage and seeing that his technique wasn't very conventional or like textbook style, he was throw weird shots and weird angles that I thought, okay, this guy doesn't seem to know what he's doing. But what I failed to realize was that was the thing that was going to cause me issues, throwing shots and doing movements that you don't usually learn in a gym and you don't really practice for. And that's what maybe got me off guard and allowed him or caused him to get me with shots that I wasn't expected or prepared for. and hurt me.
I think it's fair to say probably one of your toughest fights, if not the toughest, because of its physical attributes, but tactically, it must have not been one of the tougher fights you had. How do you compare or prepare differently for an opponent that's a lot more physical and tactical, and then vice versa?
It's difficult to say. Obviously, if you can anticipate that the guy is strong and he has a good a good engine, that's something as well which I think I also underestimated his engine, because when I saw him in other fights, he didn't really fight at a high pace. And to be honest, he didn't really fight at a very high pace with me. He fought in bursts. And so I thought that I'd be okay with my engine, because he didn't exert a really high pace like in my last fight versus Benavidez, who had a very high pace, and I managed to withstand the 10 rounds properly. But I think those 2 extra rounds made a huge difference. And I think also when I thought there were on occasions during the fight there were complications, and maybe that caused me to be more tense than usually, and that maybe could have caused me to fatigue before, I think.
We prepared a highlights clip of the fight, so let's take a look now, and you can kind of walk us through what you were experiencing in the ring as the fight was happening. This is the walkout, which you go out to Sweet Caroline.
Yeah. You know, this time it's in the air tonight.
In the air tonight. You changed it. I want to ask you about that. Why did you change the song for this?
Okay.
Because you've always walked out to Sweet Caroline.
Yeah, usually. No, I've changed it twice, but in that occasion I changed it because on my first fight as an amateur I lost, and I came out to In the Air Tonight, and I wanted to prove a point that a song had nothing to do with the result. And I wanted to put it again and win.
This is the opening round, and it came out quite fast. Does anything prepare you for that first punch?
What happened here is the thing I'm not sure if it's just come out there. He got me with a good shot, and he thought I was hurt. I wasn't hurt on that first round, and he came with a burst, but I was comfortable there.
And then these middle rounds, he kind of like eased off the gas pedal a bit, and you were kind of picking him off, landing some solid punches. And I think it's easy for anyone watching a long fight like this, 12 rounds, easy to forget the middle rounds.
Yeah.
But this is where you really put in the groundwork for the win.
Yeah, definitely. People need to understand that a boxing match is scored by individual rounds. So there might have been 3-4 rounds where that were dramatic, and he won quite convincingly. But what people fail to realize is that every other round that I've won by a mile distance is
this was a push.
That was a push. Yeah, gives the same score to when he wins very convincingly. It's a 10-9 round.
Claro.
So if he's had 4 great rounds where he's won clearly, but I've won the other 8 mildly,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that I stack up a large distance, and that's what people fail to realize. Maybe people remember the moments where he was having a good burst, or the last round where I take a knee, but you need to look at every round individually.
And this punch caught you off guard here when the bell rang. You were talking about it before.
Yeah, it was
a bit dirty.
He definitely hit me after the bell, and the ref failed to say anything. Here I'm very fatigued, tired, and not responding. I'm probably slightly hurt as well, and I decided to take a knee because I was fearing that the ref would intervene.
So it's your way of risking that round but saving the fight.
Yeah, exactly. So and you take a break because the 10 seconds it counts, and then you're okay or not. You start again. You take at least a 13 or 14-second break, and you gain some air and some clarity to push on. Especially I knew it was in the last minute of the fight.
This is the hardest last round you've had to face?
Yeah, 100%. The last round, yeah, 100%. You can see I'm very fatigued. I'm very tired.
Yeah, this is when you know they're both on
but I'm still, I'm trying.
Yeah. You're right.
It was a very tough fight.
Is that the most relieved you've been to hear the bell go?
Yeah, you can see by my body language that.
You look fatigued.
Yeah, I'm out on my feet. You can see there. I nearly fall there. And I was in no condition to carry on any more rounds.
And I mean, do you think that was a bit of his game plan? Start fast, see if he could hurt you, then rest himself for the final rounds as well and come out you hard again?
I'm not sure if it was his game plan or not. I think
who's that gets in the ring?
It's a friend of mine who possibly couldn't withstand the emotion and got into the ring. I remember seeing him saying, what the hell is this guy doing here? Excuse the language.
So, talk us through what you thought maybe could have been his game plan, or do you think the fight just played out that way naturally?
Yeah, I think it played out naturally, because what I think happened is he occasionally got me with a good shot where he thought he hurt me, and then he went on like a rampage with a long barrage of punches. Most of the times I wasn't hurt, but obviously I was just guarding myself. I'm thinking to myself, I'll wait for it to pass because this is not going to last long. Obviously, it's impossible. And then he saw that he didn't put me down, and he had to slow down. And then I started coming back and probably winning most rounds. And then I think in the last round, he saw that I was way more vulnerable than him. I was more tired than him. And he probably knew that he was behind on the cards. And he accelerated, and it came in handy for him because I didn't have the strength to be able to stop him, like punch him hard and say, no, I'm still dangerous. Yeah. And I think he felt that. And he accelerated the gears, and you can see what happened in the 12. I was really tired, and I got hurt as well.
Must feel rewarding to come out of that fight a champion, worthy champion. There was concern for your health after the fight as well. I mean, talk us through those couple of hours after the fight and how you're feeling then.
Yeah, my manager and my coach immediately realized that I wasn't 100%. I was stumbling a bit. I started to feel like the need to vomit. I think it was due to the lactic acid. So we just went back. I didn't do any interviews. Went back to the change room and I started vomiting there. And I started drinking. I couldn't drink like Coke or anything with sugar because I had the guy there that needed to do the doping test, and he said that we shouldn't have anything that wasn't water. So that was a bit of a...
Took you longer to recover.
Yeah.
You needed the sugar.
Yeah, and then I also had my eyebrow, the left eyebrow, that was open. I think it was due to a headbutt, but I'm not sure because I can't see it properly when I've looked at the footage. I had to get stitches as well. And then finally, I felt like I could urinate, and so I did the doping test. And that's it. That like an hour later, an hour and a half, more or less had recovered, and I went home and probably had a shower and rest and etc.
Very well deserved.
Yeah.
Well, time, that's it for part one. Thank you for watching. Join us again in part two. We'll talk about what's up next for the pro boxer. Welcome back to the Sports Locker. We're talking to Gibraltar's most decorated pro boxer, Tyrone Buttigieg. Tyrone, days after the fight, dust has settled. You take to social media to thank all the support, which again was fantastic at the Casino Admiral.
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, it's the time that I've received most messages since I started fighting as a pro. I've always obviously got a lot of support from the people, which is something I'm always very grateful for. But this time, I think the fact that the fight was so difficult, and there was we had those complications in a couple of rounds, and in the last one, and people saw the grit that I showed as well, because people are used to seeing me to win in a way more like styling manner or easier, more smooth, and they saw me go through moments of adversity this time. I was hurt. They saw. I was hurt, I was tired, and I didn't give up. I pushed on, I held in there in the last couple of minutes, and I think that's something that the people enjoyed. Maybe boxing-wise, it wasn't my best performance, but as from a spectator point of view, I think there was drama in the fight, which is I think what people like to see. In the end of the day, maybe my family or my close friends don't like to see that, but I think the general boxing supporters like to see those type of fights. So yeah, it's definitely been the time where I've received like most positive feedback from the people. Maybe as well because it was live on GBC.
I was going to say.
Probably more people saw the fight this time than other times.
Yeah, I mean, having it live on GBC would have been quite special for yourself. I know you pushed and we managed to get it all done. But for you to find out that the fight is going to be shown live on television is great, because Casino Admiral is also quite a small place. So everyone in Gibraltar got to witness it.
Yeah.
Did that add to the excitement?
Yeah, definitely did excite. To the extent I was very excited. It was going to be televised live. The event was like sold out like a month before the event. Only my fight was announced and in the whole card, and there was already no more tickets. So I think there was a demand for it, and I received lots of messages from people saying that they're watching at home with the families, like typical Saturday night. They got a takeaway and the family came over. There was a few bars in Gibraltar as well that televised it and they announced it. So I think because of the fact that it was televised, there was way more eyes on it.
So it's now been a few weeks. I don't want to jump the gun. I know you've been resting,
Yeah.
but I know you're a competitor. So in the back of your mind, you must be thinking, what's next? So I'm going to ask you, what's next for Tyrone Buttigieg?
Personally, I would like to defend the titles. Obviously, depending on what opponent is available or where I defend, we're not sure if we're going to defend it like in San Roque or if it's going to be abroad in a big card. Things are unclear at the moment, so hopefully things start to unfold within the next few weeks. I start having more information, and then I can possibly let you know what's happening. But my ultimate aim is to defend, if not one, if not both, at least one of them. If not my next fight, maybe after the summer, because there might be a chance or possibility that I do like an 8-round non-title fight just to maintain active, and then maybe after the summer defend the titles. Remember, these are hard-grueling fights, and I cannot be in 12-round hard fights every 3 months. Obviously, in the end of the day, my health and my well-being is the primary issue. People who box at this level usually fight once or twice a year. So depending on how much time they give me to do a defense, I'll make a decision of when I defend it, but that's the aim at least.
So ideally, you'd get back to training soon, have a non-competitive 8-rounder in summer, and then defend later on in the year, no? Essentially.
That's the plan. However, if there comes to...
Depends what comes around the corner,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
If there's a big
Depends
offer...
the exact date. For example,
Yeah.
if it's July, maybe July, for example, I could defend. I'd probably have enough time to recover and do a preparation and defend in July. If I get dates before July, like June, I think it's too early to be involved in another 12-round fight. So in that case, I'll just do an 8-rounder versus a guy with a winning record, like I usually do, and then prepare for a big defense, big title fight again after the summer. But things will unfold in the next couple of weeks, I guess.
We mentioned before, 12-0, 4 belts from different organizations. You're ranked in the top 15 for the WBO, I think it is, and then you're ranked in the top 25 for this latest fight. Are people starting to take notice in the boxing world?
I want to think so, at least. To be honest, I can see on my social media, like more people like from the boxing world following me and sending me requests. The other day I received a follow request from IFL TV, who is basically the most important YouTube channel in boxing in the world. And so obviously, if people like that are sending me follow requests, it goes to show that my
Doing
name...
things right.
Yeah, my name is out there. They're hearing my name somehow.
If Eddie Hearn is watching, pick up the phone on.
Hopefully soon, if I get that fight that I want, it'll be a big one. But how I am. I don't like to say stuff until...
Yeah. Always modest. Always the modest
always.
fighter.
No, because
I
can say something and then it doesn't materialize. So why am I going to say it for?
Yeah. You mentioned the importance of resting and your health. How important have these few weeks been to kind of focus on yourself?
Yeah, to be honest, I've slept loads. I've been sleeping like 12 or 15 hours daily after the fight, especially the week after. I was knackered. Like, my whole body had never been, I think, through such a fight which was so physical and took so much out of me. I've been, like I said, like sleeping and eating loads. Now I feel recovered. I don't really need to say that, but just for your info as well, I'm doing a head scan just out of precaution. So I'm waiting for the results of that. I feel well, but out of precaution.
Claro.
My health is more important than anything. In the end of the day, boxing, there's a life after boxing.
Yeah.
The time will come, not probably in the near future, because I'm 33 years old now, so I'm not going to be boxing forever. There will be a time where I said enough is enough, and there's priorities in life and different phases. So it's important that I take care of my health, and I'm hopeful. I'm almost certain that everything will be clear with the head scan. It's just out of precaution, which I've decided to do. No one's asked me to do it. It's not a measure from the governing bodies or anything, but just for my own peace of mind. And that's it. We just keep on forward. Moving forward with ticking boxes in my career, things that I still got pending that I would like to do.
I was going to ask you that actually, because of course you mentioned your age there, 33. You got 4 titles now. What is left on your checklist?
One of them for me is to fight in a big card. And when I say a big card, it's not just with the fight being televised by a big platform, because what's important is that the guy headlining the show is a big draw. And that's what's going to draw attention. Because just because there's a boxing in the Zan on Sky, if the guy headlining is a big guy, you won't watch it. You only watch when the main guy is a big draw. And that's what gives you the exposure. So I'd like to fight on the big card. Hopefully defend my titles there. That will be the icing on the cake. And for me, the ultimate goal will be to fight for a world title, at least for the IBO, International Boxing Organization, world title. They're fighting for it, I think, this month, in April. So I'll keep an eye on the winner of that and see what they do, if they want to defend or if they vacate. And we'll see in the near future. So like I said, I'd like to fight on a big card, televised card, on a big platform. And if I get the opportunity to fight for that IBO world title, that would be huge as well. But we'll see. Some things out of my hands. If it was for what I want, and if it was in my hands, we'll get it done. But there's more to it.
We're running out of time, but before we run out of time, you were champion on the night. Before you were crowned champion, you were communities champion here because you picked up the GBC Sportsperson of the Year award. Yeah. Talk us a bit about that through the night and picking up that award, which was obviously so validated because the whole community votes for it.
Yeah. To be honest, when I was at the gala sitting, obviously hearing the nominees, the people who were nominated, and I was hearing their accomplishments, I was thinking, the caliber is quite high, to be honest. And I have to be very honest with you. I thought before the day of the gala that I had a very good chance of winning, obviously because I was unaware of what the other athletes had accomplished. But when they started explaining on the night the accomplishments of the other athletes, I saw the caliber is really high, and I would definitely understand if I don't get this award tonight. But fortunately, I was awarded the Sportsperson of the Year, and really grateful, because it goes to show as well that people recognize your hard work, and not just hard work, but the accomplishments, the stuff that we've accomplished. I'm very happy, to say the least. It was the icing on the cake, just like 3 weeks before a massive fight.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you have it on display? Happy. Which one's on display the most now, the GBC Sports Awards or the belts at home?
The GBC Sports Awards is actually in display at my parents' house.
Aha, good. That's nice. I like that.
They have it there on display. Yeah, my father's a very present kind of dad, with all my achievements and everything. So yeah.
Brilliant.
And this belts, to be honest, I haven't got them on display at the moment. I was very annoyed on the night because I wasn't feeling very well. I didn't manage to take a picture with the 4 belts in the ring. So, well, maybe it's an excuse to fight for another belt, to be able to take the photo with all the belts in the ring.
Well, Tyrone, thank you very much for your time. Big congratulations again, and we'll be eagerly watching to see what's next for you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Sports Talk. A big thank you to Tyrone for coming along, and a big thank you to you for watching at home. Keep your eyes peeled for what's next for the pro boxer. We'll see you next time.